Welcome to Playing Above the Line, where we interview entrepreneurs, business owners, and community activists to get their thoughts and perspectives on leadership. Playing Above the Line is sponsored by Aviso Group, a business consulting and accounting firm focused on preparing clients for the future through innovation and positive growth. Welcome to Playing Above the Line. I'm Alan, your host, and we have a good episode for you today. Our guest is Randon Carnathan, and he is a State Farm agent in Spanish Fort, Alabama. And so, Randon, thank you for joining us. We appreciate it.
Thank y'all for having me. I'm honored to be here.
I must say that you're the best dressed guest that we've had in a long, long time. It's Christmas week, and you have on your your Christmas sweater. It's got the goat on there with the red nose and the bells, and so very festive in here today. I appreciate that.
Thank you.
All right, State Farm agent. So, how did you? What's your background? What did you think you wanted to do when you started your working career? How did you end up where you are now?
No, I never thought I'd be in insurance, to be honest with you. I actually played ball at South Alabama.
Okay.
Go Jags. And after I graduated, it was, hey, look, you need to find a job, you know.
That's normally a good first step, right?
Yeah. My high school coach introduced me to a guy who was a State Farm agent up in the Birmingham metro area and met with him. He basically told me what could be as a State Farm agent, and I figured, football and coaching wasn't going to work out. So it was time to find a career, and I did at a very young age, and I'm glad I did. So now I'm here, my own business, insurance agency, in a beautiful Baldwin County.
Yeah, that's great. So are you from originally this area? Or are you from?
I'm from Birmingham.
Birmingham, okay, all right. And so how did you end up down in on the Gulf Coast of Alabama? Well, I guess Alabama. I guess you went to South. That makes sense.
I went to
Mobile,
South. I'm heavily rooted in South with a lot of connections there. But on top of that, with the insurance business, I did my research on it and figured that Baldwin County was growing the way it was. So, hey, look, I think it'll be a great idea to move down to the Baldwin County area. Even though I lived in Mobile for probably 6 years, and I didn't pay attention to this stuff in college. So, So when I was producing my business plan, I looked at the growth of Baldwin County, which was like top 1 or 2 at the time, as far as homes being built and the jobs that are coming in. And I figured it would be just a great opportunity for me and my family to move down here with everything that's going on. So.
Yeah, that's a great lesson. Don't just herky-jerky do stuff. You got to do a little research, right?
Yeah, you got it, especially on the business.
That's right. Well, so let me ask you this. It's interesting, and you said what a lot of people say when we were chatting before the podcast started, and this is about leadership and entrepreneurship. And you said, well, when I thought about it, I didn't really see myself as a leader until you kind of sat down and really started thinking it through. And I think you're like most people, you realize that, you are, in your own unique way. So playing football, South Alabama, I'm sure that you learned a lot about leadership, maybe good or bad, from your coaches. What experiences playing football, what did that teach you about leadership and how to be a good leader at South?
Oh, man. You when you're a leader, you have to accept everybody's mess-ups, or you have to take the blame for everything that goes on. Just as a player, someone doesn't control their gap. The next day, college is totally different. Sunday after game day, you're out there in drills. You're out there practicing. Yeah. There's no rest on that. It's just it teaches you how to accept accountability on your end. The details that goes into it, I play defensive line. If I have to control the A gap and the linebacker behind me have to fold into the B gap, if I lose my A gap, then he's going to get knocked off, and that's a busted play.
Yeah.
So it makes you be accountable on what you have to do on your end to make sure that you're successful.
Yeah, that's a good point. And something you said, you always hear, or most, I'm going to say a lot of what I consider good coaches, you're right. The buck stops with them, right? So even though they may not have been the one to miss that A-gap assignment or whatever, but if the team loses the game, ultimately he will say most of the time, look, it's my fault, right? It stops. Right. I've got to do better.
That's
even though he was
right.
not on the field, he took the responsibility. So that's important as a leader.
Absolutely, it's important.
Yeah. All right, we asked you to check some boxes on your show primer of some things that you wanted to talk about, and one of the things that you checked was your leadership style. So what do you consider to be your leadership style and your leadership philosophy?
I kind of let them make a mistake and figure it out. I'm not the type to honestly spoon feed a lot. I sit back and ask you, hey, what do you think you would do in this situation? Yeah. And then, I'll let you figure it out, and then at the end of the day, we'll work on it together. Kind of like if you play with fire. Well, I know not to touch that again. Well, if I make a mistake,
right.
Well, now I have to fix it, right? I have to fix it, and it's going to take time away from doing other things. So now I know not to do that again. It's a way of you figuring it out on your own, and me just being there as the glue to it all to make sure that it does not happen again. So I do have structure and ways that I do things as far as being a leader. I'm very hands-on, kind of like a watch me do it, then let's see if you can do it. Everybody's different. Everybody loves to do a face-to-face. Some people do it virtual. Some people are just bookworms. You know, I'm not a bookworm. Show me and I'll do it that way every time. So
yeah. Well, I got to think common through all that is communication, right? Because nothing that you said as far as the way that you like to lead and teach is possible without having good communication. Would you agree with that?
Not. Yep. Absolutely. You have to communicate. It's two-way communication on my end. It's two-way feedback. You know, if I ask you a question, everybody has got to respond to it. I might be talking to you, Alan, but if Carrie's on my team, hey, I might ask you, and then you answer the question, and I'm going to look at her and be like, hey, what's your insight on it? And my thing, and I say this to the team all the time, it's like us sitting in a room right now, right? There's 3 brains. There's 3 sets of eyes. There's 3 mouths. If we put all of it together and put all our ideas together, there's no way possible we can't come up with a perfect solution.
Yeah. I love that. That's great. So you mentioned the word team. So talk about your team. I mean, what in your, well, and you can speak both from a State Farm aspect and also, being a former football player, what in your view makes a good team member, and what do you look for when you're looking for someone to come on to your team? What qualities do you think they need to embody?
Someone who's like a mini mole of me. And what I mean by that is, of course, when you first come in, you're not going to be the way I want you to be. And that's commitment on my time to train, show you the system and ways of how we do things in Randon Carnathan State Farm Agency. If it's someone with prior insurance experience, they might have bad habits that take a little bit more time of my day to try to critique the way I want them to be. Because how I look at it in my business, I don't work too much in the business, but I work more so on the business. So while I'm not there, or if I'm busy or in a meetings or here with you guys, I expect for someone to take care of a situation the way I would want it to be taken care of. I expect for one of them, my team, to solicit business or close a household the way that I would close a household. And it's kind of, I won't say it's weird, but it's rewarding to hear one of my team members say something and use the exact same verbiage I would use on the phone.
Yeah.
It makes me know that they're doing the right thing and it's the right team that I have.
Yeah, that's great. Well, so have you always had this entrepreneurial kind of bent about you? Was it something that kind of developed as you started really thinking about what am I going to do after I get out of college, or were you the kid that was selling stuff to on the corner of the street, whoever would buy it?
Yes, back in middle school, me and my childhood best friend Eric, we sold CDs. You could think about it. We could sell anything. We would sell CDs to our teachers, to our friends, and we had a whole little business going. We had a little revenue going and everything, man. I promise you. And, of course, we sold candy. We would go to Sam's and buy the big bulk of candy, and we would sling it at school, Had
that serious markup going, too, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. That's right. But this here, when I started working with the agent up in Birmingham, it was an eye-opener to now look at it and say, okay, I see what this guy is doing, and I see what I am doing. Well, I don't want to do this forever. I want to be the guy who is providing the job. I want to be the guy who's training people and giving them more opportunities. And I'm a huge giver. I'm such a giver with my team, maybe a little bit too much, but it's rewarding to give to them based off their work and what they're doing.
Yeah. And I think that's obvious because Gary was saying that you're really active in the young professionals arm of the chamber down here, right? So community-minded as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So circling back to entrepreneurship, do you think, and we asked this question about leadership really, but it can also apply to entrepreneurship. Do you think an entrepreneur is born or are they made, or is it a combination of both?
I have to say they're both. And the reason I say that is because I feel like I was a born leader or entrepreneur in my personal belief of myself and what I bring to the table. But I also think that it can be instilled in someone who's not born with it. And the reason why I say that is when you're back against a wall, what are you going to do? You'll find something out about yourself that you just did not know you had in yourself. Yeah. If it's come to a situation to one where your next meal is, you don't know where it's coming from, what are you going to do? You're going to figure it out, or you're going to fold over and starve.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I honestly feel like it's both. Some people might have not been put in a situation to bring that trait of them out. They've probably had it made all their life and things have always been great. You've probably got somebody going through that now with COVID. You know, they probably went from making a 6-figure salary to now they're making $2,000 a month. That's a huge difference. And they probably decided that, hey, look, I'm on my own. I'm not getting a pink slip no more. I'll be the own captain of my own faith, you know. So.
Well, that's right, and so a lot of that I think has to do with being a lifelong learner was one way to put it. But I mean, if those traits are in you somewhere, I mean, you can go out and find people and things and courses or whatever, books to help you develop those skills within yourself to get better, you know, and to kind of nurture those things that are within you. That,
or a mentor.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I had a strong mentor who helped me out in my path of becoming a business owner.
All right. Well, who was that? Tell us about this.
This guy's name's Todd Burkhalter. His son actually plays up at Spanish Ford and taking his talents to UCLA to play ball. So
great.
Todd was a friend of my high school coaches, and I played high school up in Leeds, Alabama, home of Charles Barkley.
Yes,
by the way.
right.
He took me under his wings. He was a business owner. He's an entrepreneur. Showed me a lot, taught me a lot with the business. I remember back in the day, I would ask him, what is equity? You know, like what is all this stuff? What is profit and loss? You know, and he would sit there and he would explain all this stuff to me. And keep in mind, I was his babysitter in college as well too.
Oh wow!
So now they live in Spanish Ford, and it was awesome that we decided to move down here as well too. So they're living in Spanish Ford, and we keep in contact every now and then.
Yeah, that's great. There's a lot to be said for a good mentor in your life.
Yes, absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, speaking of influences and kind of what got you to where you are now, it's interesting. We asked you about that, and you mentioned two things, your son, Mason, and then the environment that you grew up in. So expand on those two things a little bit.
Well, it goes back to your question about what made me get into it. It was I graduated college and moved back home to Birmingham. I was actually in a tough situation because I had to pay my rent at South, and I just graduated, and I'm like, wherever I go, you know, and this might sound crazy, but I didn't want to work at a fast food restaurant. I just didn't. I didn't want to do that. So instead, my mentor owned a business out in Saraland, and I worked there from a couple months to pay my rent off, and then I moved back home, and I started working for State Farm in August of 2014 on the 18th, and my son was born August 22nd of 2014.
Oh, wow.
Right? So my whole thing was I have a kid on the way, and I'm going to show him a world that I never experienced. My father wasn't in my life, and still to this day isn't in my life, and that was a huge, huge motivational piece to me to do better, to provide him more than what my father gave to me, and make sure that my wife didn't have to be the man and the mom to my son like my mom was to me. So that was my huge motivation, was him. And to this day, my wife jokingly laughed when I was studying for my license. I didn't show her any attention. I did it, and I had a goal. I had a mission to get my license and start selling some insurance so I can provide for my family, you know. Yeah. But that's why he was my biggest motivation, was because I had to figure it out, you know, as a man.
Well, I mean, it is amazing what having another mouth to feed, another human being to be responsible for, will do to your psyche sometimes, you know. And you can go one or two directions, right? You can do what you did, or you can just say, "Oh,
I can do what
forget this."
my father did, you know.
Right? This is not right. Yeah. Well, you definitely took the more noble of the two paths, that's for sure.
And now we got our third one on the way. So.
Oh wow, okay. So he's 6 if my math is correct. So you got 6, and then one on the
right
way.
now. She'll be 1 next month, and then we got 1 due in April. So.
Man, you're gonna be wide open when that's over with.
Yeah, my great grandma told me, "Boy, you better slow down."
I like it. All right, well, let's circle back and talk about. I want to ask you about one particular thing on your show primer. We asked some qualities. You know, give us some qualities that you think make a good leader. And you put principles. And I don't know that anyone has really ever said that particular specific thing. So, what about principles? Talk about that and what you think makes that important.
I always put it this way: the principles I live by is manhood, scholarship, perseverance, and uplift. Okay, I say I stand on my one, which is my manhood. I'm always be a man first and foremost. I'm always take care of home. I'm always make sure my wife is happy, and make sure I discipline my kids the way they're supposed to be disciplined when right is wrong. I'm going to make sure I take care of the business the way it's supposed to, because if the business isn't taken care of, the home isn't going to be taken care of. You know, that's the income side of things. Manhood can go as far as mowing the grass. It can go as far as stepping up and helping the kids or something like that. My scholarship, never get complacent. Never sit dormant and thinking you know it all. Never feel like you're in a place to one which you don't have to evolve, because I'll tell you straight up right now, the world will continue evolving regardless if you want to adapt it or not.
Yeah.
And if you don't adapt it, you're going to get left behind and your business could plummet for it, you know. Uplift, oh gosh, like I said, I'm a giver, not just in a financial mindset, but also in a mental mindset. You know, when I meet with my team, I don't ever look at them and just talk about the business. I want to know how they're doing. I want to make sure everything is going on outside of the office on a personal side. And, you know, one of my team members, Lanisha, just lost her grandma. I told her, hey, look, take your time, do what you got to do, and if you need anything from us, we'll be fine. Perseverance. This year's been tough. It's been very, very tough. You can fold and dwell on it, and we can sit back and pray that we get something or something's handed to us, or we can go out and figure it out. You can find some type of perseverance to finish strong, keep your head high to the finish. You know, that's just my principles, and that's just how I live my life on those 4 principles.
Folks, I'm going to tell you something. You need to go back and listen to this episode again, because this one is full of great little nuggets of wisdom and insight, and that's great. I appreciate that. That is awesome.
I appreciate y'all having me, man. This is fun.
Yeah, well, hey, we're still having fun. So you kind of alluded to COVID, and it's still going on. So tell me, how has that affected your, number one, your business? Did you see any kind of effects? How did you adapt to that? What do you see for your insurance agency and your business going forward? Where would you like to be in the next couple of years?
I'll be honest with you. State Farm, just the company alone, has helped every agent out and every customer out possible. And the reason why I say that is because we have given so much money back to our policyholders, to the community. We've given out rate decrease after rate decrease on our auto. We've taken care of bills, a certain percentage of their bills during the crisis, and that's helped out to show appreciation with the customers, on top of us being on the front line. And what I mean by us being on the front line, because if you're my customer, you're coming to me like, hey, dude, I don't know how I'm going to make this next bill, right? And now the company's coming down there and saying, hey, look, this is what we're going to do with them. Gosh, they helped out so many, man. Over 1,000 families' life policy was paid out that was actually defaulted because of no payment.
Oh, wow.
We actually still paid those out. Like I said, the rate decreases on the auto. State Farm I'll put it this way, State Farm has helped our business out tremendously. And we've stayed heavily rooted in the community. We gave out money to the Ruff Wilson Foundation and Daphne. We just give back, and we continue giving back. We had somebody come by and get gift cards yesterday for the kids in need. So we're just thankful. We're very thankful for what we have going on with COVID right now. Yeah.
Well, and a crisis like this brings out 2 types of people: the ones that give back, and then the ones that try to take advantage and just get what they can,
right,
while they can, and that kind of thing. So
right.
Sounds like you guys are on the right side of it for sure. So outside of taking care of 2 babies and one on the way, and your work and that kind of thing, what do you do to kind of decompress or blow off steam or have fun? What are some things you do outside the office?
Oh man, I've picked up golfing.
Okay.
I suck at it, I'll be honest with you.
Oh, you look like you could hit it about 500 yards. So, I
would like to think so. Sometimes I hit one and it sounds good, and I look back at somebody else and I'm like, where did it go? I'm like, I don't know.
Gotta have a tracker.
I don't know. We're far away from, I wouldn't say we're far away. They're all up in Birmingham, which is about 3.5 hour drive. But other than hanging out with friends from college, or one of my high school friends are down here, nothing, man. Other than that, I really don't do much. This is my baby, this laptop right here. I just run reports and set my team up for success to make sure that we can finish strong in the agency right now. Now, when I get a little older and the business is, somewhat where I wanted to be, who knows? I don't know. Normally we would have T-ball and stuff like that, but we don't have stuff like that takes up most of our time. So we're just...
I got you. Obviously, South Alabama is close to your heart, I would think. Any other college or professional teams that you're really passionate about? Do you have time to follow football as much as you'd like to?
I do. I don't watch it as much, but I do. I'm a diehard Colts fan. Okay. My uncle played with them for 11 years. But South Alabama all day, man. I'm excited about our new coach we got. He just hired his offensive coaches, so I'm excited to know that my money's going to a good place. We can hopefully get a winning season. So if anybody's listening to this podcast, no pressure for our new coach.
Right. When you guys just got a new stadium, right? I mean, they just opened last year. So
It's a beautiful stadium, man. I wish I would have had that stadium when I played, man.
Yeah. So you've had a chance to go and look at it and see it in
looked
person.
at it a little bit before it was finished, but I haven't been back ever since it's been finalized. So.
I got you. Okay. All right. Last question. I'm gonna bring back the Aviso Group time machine. So if I fired the time machine up and let you go anywhere in history, I mean, you can go backwards, you can go into the future. I mean, where would you like to go? What moment would you like to be in again, or in the future that you can point to?
That's a good question. I would probably take it back to college days, and the only reason why I would do that is because I wish I would have done more with the universe. I wish I wasn't just a student athlete, which I was. I was just a football head. I would just play football, go to school, and party. Obviously, and that's it. I wish I would have gotten out more and joined more organizations and kind of networked more in college and met more people to add to my network of people I know now.
Yeah.
Because I honestly believe it's not what you know, it is who you know. Not to say I don't know that many people, but I wish I would have took more advantage of the opportunity that was in front of me before South blew up of what it is now.
Yeah.
Because that campus is not nowhere near what it was when I first got there at all. So I think that's what I would do. I would take it back to college, but don't get me wrong, I wouldn't change anything about college. But I would still want to go to more organizations and did more networking.
Yeah,
is what I would have done.
Yeah, it's a great lesson. Thanks for that insight. Randon, thank you so much. This has been great. We're going to link your social media and websites and everything else in the show notes, so if folks want to check you out and what you're doing, they can go there. And again, thanks for your insight. This has been a wonderful interview.
Thank y'all for having me.
We hope you enjoyed today's episode, and if you did, be sure to rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes and Spotify. It definitely helps us in the ratings, and it also makes it easier for other folks to find the podcast. And as always, a big thank you to producer and editor Carrie Wolf. Playing Above the Line is sponsored by Aviso Group. If you want to know more about who we are and what we do, you can visit our website at avisogroup.com. That's AVIZO group.com. You can also check us out on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Thanks for listening.